Now, we're supposed to fight back against all of this, their moves on the Supreme Court with our Democratic leadership.
Oy.
And so let's take a look at what this Democratic leadership is. So here's a little bit of Chuck Schumer.
Why even bother constructing a pretense for your position? Why say it's this rule or that rule and then do the exact opposite when it suits your interests? Why not just come to the floor and say, I'm going to do what's ever best for my political party? Consistency be damned, reason be damned, democracy be damned. Just admit it. There's no shaping the cravenness of this position. If a Senate majority over the course of 6 years steals 2 Supreme Court seats using completely contradictory rationales, how could we expect to trust the other side again? How can we trust each other if when push comes to shove, when the stakes are the highest, the other side will double-cross their own standards when it's politically advantageous?
Okay, so there's 2 sections of that video. We're going to eventually get to both of them. But the second one right there was, if they steal 2 Supreme Court seats, how could we trust them in the future? Why are you talking about the future? Why do you trust them now? Why apparently did you trust them yesterday and last week and the month before that? Why, after all of this, would Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, why would he doesn't know what year it is. He doesn't know what decade it is. He's still sort of waking up a little bit about the state of the Republican Party and how power equals power and all of that, Emma.
Yeah, it's insane. It started off pretty good, right? Talking about the cravenness of the position. But then he started to say, how could we ever trust you again? You trusted them before? You trusted them before. The Republican Party. You trusted them before with a guy like Ted Cruz on the other side of the aisle. That's the people who literally play dirty whenever they get the chance. Mitch McConnell banks on Democrats caving and having a little bit of humanity for all of his negotiations with them every time. And he'll hold people's livelihoods and lives and their health care and their immigration status and things that affect people, millions. They'll hold that over Democrats' heads in order to get more tax cuts for the rich, corporations, bailouts, etc. He does that every single time. Why would you think it would be different this time around? They play hardball every single time. And yeah, as you pointed out, John, he's talking about the future. In Roll Call reported a statement to other Democratic leaders and members of the caucus. He said he was talking about next year. Oh, we'll do everything in our power next year to hold them to this and go after them and retaliate, and then nothing will be off the table next year. Why are you already seeding that they'll be able to do this? You have a number of procedural things that you could actually do, but they don't want to go down that road. They never, ever want to use the tactics that Republicans repeatedly use against them.
And that he, as you pointed out, he starts by saying, he goes through all of those. That's why I left it in, because if you are going to be spurred by the way the Republican Party has evolved over time into doing what's necessary to defeat them, then good. I want to hear all of that. What he said right there is, sort of a weak, tired, sleepy version of what we said on the show yesterday. But if you're not going to do anything, then screw you for uttering even one of those syllables, because now you're just wasting my time. So now you apparently do acknowledge that they have no standards. They don't care about lying, decency, the norms, blah, blah, every single one of those things. And so how can we trust them? I'm going to be really mad in 2021. No, there was no point in you learning the lesson if that's what you take away from having learned that lesson, Chuck Schumer. And maybe he'll do something. Maybe if we push him hard enough, he'll do something, expanding the core, statehood, whatever, maybe. But he's only going to do that if we push him a hell of a lot harder than we are now. And I would say, whether he does it or not, he needs to get out of that spot, because he's taken up a spot in the Senate, and he's certainly taken up a big spot in Senate leadership that he has never deserved, ever, and certainly doesn't now, considering what we're facing. AOC should take him down if there's any chance of her taking him down. The issue is, as Emma pointed out, they're already looking forward to someday something's going to happen. It's not just him. Nancy Pelosi tweeted this: Republicans are rushing to get someone on the Supreme Court because they want to obliterate the Affordable Care Act. Mark my words, they will pay for elections to come. No, I don't care about them paying in the future. If they're going to pay in the future, they're going to pay in the future for having done it. What you're saying is effectively, it's the herd immunity thing. It's, we're not going to do anything, and we're just going to see what happens. We're just going to see what happens. No, what are you going to do? We had the leader of the Dems in the Senate, the leader of the Dems in the House, and both of them appear to be saying, someday, if they do this, then surely people will get mad and they will vote for Democrats, because that's been the solution to all of our problems. There's not any sort of structural impediments or obstacles to the popular vote actually being translated into political power in a million different ways. And yet the two most powerful Dems in DC still believe that that will save us, or they believe that that will placate us and get us to just go along with this.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, they only care about accumulating power. If you actually cared about the substantive reasons why a conservative Supreme Court would be so horrible, take the ACA, for example. Joe Biden has promised to strengthen the ACA. It's the most measly, ridiculously small promise, but that's what he's said he's going to do on healthcare, right? Mm-hmm. Trump gets his nominee through. That's impossible. That's impossible. They're already going to gut it. It's in the lower courts right now, and it's going to be appealed. So all the small things that they're promising from a policy perspective on the Democratic side, the conservative things they're promising, won't be possible if Trump gets this nominee through. That's just the reality. We want Medicare for all down the line. Well, if the court is completely conservative for decades and decades, that's going to be a massive problem. But when you're not focused on the policy effects and you're only focused on winning electorally and accumulating power, which will eventually shift back to the Republicans and eventually shift to you because Democrats are so bad at making their case, then this is the result you get. You get people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and their leadership. And additionally, they are in that position not because they're good negotiators and they actually win for their side. They're in that position because they're good fundraisers. It's the same reason that Hakeem Jeffries won his leadership position and took Joe Crowley's old position. He's from a close-by district in New York, and it's a reason that Barbara Lee isn't in leadership, because she doesn't play that game. It's all about who can be the best fundraisers. But that doesn't help when we actually have to negotiate with for policy. In fact, it hurts us because they're so worried about corporate donors. And that's the reality of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi's leadership.
100%. And like, it would be one thing, maybe, at least in terms of winning elections, if they could translate that fundraising into winning elections. But the best they can come up with is hiring consultants and making ads, and they make the worst possible ads imaginable. Like, teenagers on Twitter produce harder hitting ads than all of the consultants combined. So it is just taking money, handing it out to people that you conveniently know and have worked with for a very long time, so they get enriched, and then just going along. And whether you win elections or whether you lose elections, you basically have like a 90% chance of keeping your seat no matter what, which is a nice position if you can get it, I guess. Unfortunately, the vast majority of Americans don't have those positions, and so we are currently suffering. Let me read you one more quote from Nancy Pelosi, and I want you to take from this whether she gets it or not. On Sunday morning, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi demurred when asked whether a Democratic majority would consider expanding the court as reprisal for a late-term Trump appointment. Quote, "Let's just win the election. Let's hope that the president will see the light." What are you talking about? See the light. He has as good of a chance as that as someone who just had like tire irons jabbed through their eyes. He's not going to see the light. He doesn't care. He's doing what will benefit him, and his base 100% supports it. They'll see the light. She's the leader. She is the leader, and she's basically just saying, well, let's see if he all of a sudden is a fundamentally different person than he's been for 7.5 decades. Let's see, and let's see if he'll stop engaging in behaviors that have benefited him 99 times out of 100 in every situation in his life. Let's see if maybe he'll change for some reason that I can't even define and don't even bother to try.
Fingers crossed, maybe. I mean, that was a horrific appearance on ABC on Sunday. She also had some sort of glitch, beep boop, good morning, Sunday morning. It was embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, I almost feel bad making fun of her because it might have been a senior moment. I don't really know, but yeah, that was tough.
I mean, you could like if you could just get a random elected Democrat into both of those seats, it would have to be better, right?
Yes.
I mean, it can't be much worse. Maybe Manchin. I don't know.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.